how to pass your driving test. I'm a state certified driving instructor. I teach adults, I teach teens. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Beginning drivers do a lot of traffic light driving. What does this mean? They're driving and they only see the traffic light turning yellow, red, green. You as a beginning driver, whether you are 19 or 29 or 39, you got to learn to see the big picture. You got to learn to process information. You got to see the pedestrian walking across the street. You got to see the car backing out, the delivery truck going down the street. So always take your time and process information. Next, you've got to learn from others. You should be looking at all my videos. You should be talking to your mom, talking to your dad, watching your cousin, watching your uncle, so you can learn best practice. Why did they go fast? Why did they go slow? Why do they cover the brake? The big question is why. You got to familiarize yourself with the basic rules on the road. Meaning, example, if you're in the school zone, it's 25 miles an hour. And in some cases around the country, school zones are monitored by video cameras. And if you go 1 mile over the limit, you will receive a ticket and it will be mailed to you. Next, what I need you to do is study the driver's education manual. If you're in Texas, the Texas DMV. If you're in Los Angeles, California, the California DMV. If you're in Michigan, Department of Motor Vehicles of Michigan. Every state has very specific rules for driving and passing their specific test. Driver's education is a formal program. It's designed to teach individuals how to operate a motor vehicle safely and responsibly on roads across the world. I'm in the United States, I'm in the Midwest, so these primarily will focus on the Midwest, but if you're in Africa, if you're in Amsterdam, if you're in the UK, these will apply. We drive automatics over here. 90% of the vehicles we drive are automatics. The other 10% are manuals. Next, the goal of driver's education is to prepare you to face the challenges on the road. If it was easy, everyone would have their driver's license, but it's not easy. A lot of people have various reasons. They have anxiety. It is a cost factor. And because of Uber and Lyft, people just don't want to get their license. But I'm here to tell you, you will gain independency. It's nice to leave when you want from a party, to come in when you want from a party, to pick up your mom or dad from work, and to show your parents, hey, I'm an independent adult and I'm ready to move out on my own. Next, many high schools offer driver's education as a course to obtain your license. But due to recent budget cuts around the United States, many districts are cutting back on extracurricular programs. This could be driver's education. This could be culinary arts where you're cooking. So you want to talk to your guidance counselor because your school may have a driver's education program during school time or after school, so you can learn best practice. Next, driver's education instructors are typically licensed. I am licensed through the state. My certification is good for 2 years. After 2 years or before the 2 years expire, I have to take a physical. I have to take professional development classes, pass those, and submit it to the state. Hey, how you doing? From there, once I pass my test, the paperwork is submitted to the state in a driver's education portal. I take copies of all my document, my license, my test, my medical papers, and it's submitted to the state. Once it's processed, I get my new driver's education endorsement. So I'm good for 2 years. Research has shown that completing a driver's education course can lead to safer behaviors because you're learning how to drive in the downtown area. Recently, I flew into Detroit. Eminem was here, Big Sean was here, T Grizzly was here, and the NFL was here. Detroit showed up and showed out. The first day there were 275,000 people. Needless to say, they shut down parking areas, they shut down the area where the NFL draft was going, but people were going under the fence. You as a driver, whether you live in Detroit, Los Angeles, California, Houston, Texas, Chicago, you're going to have to go into a downtown area. And it is different. It's a huge urban jungle where you have to pay for parking. You must know how to parallel park. You line your car up, you reverse back, you cut your wheel all the way to the right. The rear will go in at a 45 angle. After it goes in at a 45 angle, then you turn your wheel back. You want to be no closer than 12 inches from the curb. Next, driver's education offers programs for job placement, preparing you to become a young adult, and also financial assistance. Some states provide financial assistance for individuals who might not be able to afford driver's education, but there's some income limits. Next, proper hand positioning. This is very controversial. I'm not scared to talk about controversy. AAA, which is a national organization in the United States, says 7 and 5 are the better positions because there's an airbag in the middle, and we're not trying to blow up our things. 10 and 2 could offer good hand positioning, and 9 and 3. If you're trying to parallel park, do a 3-point turnaround. You can't palm the wheel. You could palm the wheel, but you won't have good control. Hand over hand is the preferred method when you're making right turns, when you're parallel parking. Let's talk about maneuverability. Can you park? Can you make sure you have good speed control? Do you understand about reversing out of your driveway? You have to yield to oncoming traffic. Next, driver's education requires vary from state to state to state. Some states you need 8 hours of driving, 40 hours of parent instruction. It varies from state to state, country to country. Scan the intersections. Those are the most dangerous places because you're going to have pedestrians walking. You're going to have cars pulling out. You must assume that the pedestrian does not see you. You always need to be aware. Pedestrians, if there's a sidewalk, you need to walk on the sidewalk. Don't walk on the side of the road. If there's no sidewalk and pedestrians are present, they need to be walking to traffic, right? Next, if there's a bicyclist, you need to be riding with the flow of the traffic. You don't need to be riding against traffic because bicyclists can go up to 35 miles an hour. You got to maintain a safe following distance. Beginning drivers tend to tailgate very closely. They don't leave adequate space. Traffic situations change from downtown Detroit to Wichita, Kansas, to Houston, Texas, to Los Angeles, California, when I went to Bid Summit 3 years ago and I met Mr. Beast. So you always need to be aware of your environmental situation so you can make good decisions. Next, practice parking. You have to know how to parallel park. If you're parking downhill, you turn your front wheels all the way to the right and you pull up your park brake, because if your car slips out of gear, it will roll into the curb. If you're parking uphill, you turn your front wheels away from the curb. If your car slips out of gear, it will roll backwards. There's so much information. You need to take this step by step by step. Hey, if this is bringing you value, give it a thumbs up. Yes, Marcus, we want to make it safer. Yes, Bionic Wolf, we want to make it safer. Yes, Cameron, we want to make it safer. If we work together, we're going to have a safer driving environment. If you don't follow the rules, the state will take your license from you. And I've seen clients who have lost their license due to a DUI, getting too many tickets. So what I need you to do is make that safe driving pledge. What I need you to do is look through all of my videos, leave comments, and make the road safer. Because if you act out of pocket, speeding, cutting off cars, they're going to call the police. Hey, there's a guy in a ZL1 Camaro cutting cars off and they're driving very aggressive. People have dash cams. People have Teslas. They'll record all this information and send it to the police. Right of way. A lot of beginners do not understand right of way rules. The first car to get there is the first car to leave. If you're not sure, let the car go first. Mirror check, mirror check. Center your mirror. Your left mirror, you want to see a little bit of the car. Your right mirror, you want to see a little bit of the car. I'm bringing you value. I want to appreciate what you're doing, and I want to say thank you. Look at my content, leave comments. I will go live later about 7:35, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. Bye.